Well, I'm confident in what we are doing. It's very early to say where we will be at the end of the season. A lot of things have to happen. A lot of improvement has to be made from us as a team. And we know what we have to do. We know the level of competition we are facing in this league. We are happy with the recruitment that we've done in the transfer window, and now we need to get better and better every week. Well, our ambition is to go there and try to beat them again. We know the challenge. You know how hard it is. Every detail, every individual performance has to be top. We have to control a lot of aspects of the game against them that they might be very different to the ones that we have to control against Sheffield. But we have to be able to adapt as a team when we face this kind of opposition.
We didn't, I think, all the people who knows him, we didn't have any doubts about what he's doing in a short period of time. He settled really well in a special way his team Arsenal is playing right now. He suits perfect for the quality they have. And yeah, he was able to get back, Arsenal get back in the position where for a long time ago. So, and it's, you know, it's doing really well in all competitions, and being a team like he has Mikel at the end, like a competitor and fighter, and clear things to do on the pitch, and I think of the pitch. And all the people who love him, we are more than happy that what he's doing in London.
Well, aside from the Merseyside derby, this is probably the other standout fixture of the weekend. Manchester City taking on Arsenal. Just some headline team news to bring on this one. Kevin De Bruyne is out for this game. He picked up an injury on international duty. How much of a blow is that, Miguel?
But huge. I mean, he's basically City's engine. Again, I saw him pull up in that game against England. But I think he's been even more important this season because they've been a bit slack so far. And this actually goes back to the Champions League games in August. And you could see this growing irritation in De Bruyne on the pitch, where he's been like, not so much berating teammates, but you can see he's been displeased. And it feels like he's been one of the few players up to the usual sharpness and intensity that Guardiola would demand. So that's, I mean, to be honest, I was thinking Arsenal will get a result in this game anyway. Now I'm thinking they'll win it.
But is there rumours Aguero's...
Yeah, Aguero's been back in training and should be fit for this.
That's huge for Man City.
Yeah, I mean, Aguero's Aguero. He's a Premier League legend. I don't actually think the issue with Man City is going forward. Obviously, you know, De Bruyne not being in the team will affect them. I think Man City's issue is defensively. You know, obviously they've signed Diaz coming in, but, you know, when you look at teams like Leicester beating them, they just look so shaky defensively. So unless Manchester City sort that out, they're not going to be able to, you know, get back to challenging, I think, or looking like a team that's about to win the league, because it just still looks so shaky.
Yeah, and even you mentioned the signing of Diaz and say the signing of any centre half in general. If you look, I mean, City have signed 8 defenders in the last few years. Maybe that's a bit much in terms of centre halves, because some of those have been fullbacks. But I actually don't think it's an issue of personnel. I think it's more an issue of just the performance level of this team, especially because in a Guardiola team, like, it's not like a defence or a centre half is a separate part of the team, and like in say a Mourinho side, it's all supposed to be a unit where they all really defend at the same time because of the pressing and the running and the cohesion. And I think that's what's been lost. And you can even see it in some of Guardiola's maybe more idiosyncratic formations where he tries to play 2 defensive midfielders to protect the defence. But what that does is take away from the kind of their thrust or their forward play that it actually serves them defensively, because it keeps other sides in the back foot.
But if you spent 400 million on defensive signings, that means you've got a problem with defenders.
Yeah. And it's not the defenders,
but a defensive problem in the team.
Yeah, exactly.
That is sort of becoming a year-on thing.
Yeah.
If you've got to spend that amount of money on your defence, then, and you've still not sorted it, hopefully Diaz for them will be, you know, like Laporte has been a very good player. But I just think teams lining up against City now think we can get a goal. We can get, you know, we can win the game, because they just don't have what Liverpool have defensively, for example.
It's the leadership. Listen, how can you replace Company?
Yeah.
Kevin De Bruyne is a leader on the pitch, as you've alluded to, but with no Kevin De Bruyne, who's the leader on the pitch from? If there's no Aguero, who's leading that side?
But this almost comes down to how Guardiola manages and what a lot of people say about him, and that he loves players, or he works best with players who will follow orders, and it means that they'll carry out all his, because he's, in terms of instructions, obviously a lot of sophistication how City work. It's quite elaborate, and when everyone's following orders and everyone's in tune, it looks spectacular, as we've seen between 2017 and 2019. But when they start to drop off, there can be a feeling, and we've seen this in kind of big knockout games, big European games, it's as if they don't have the characters then to kind of almost solve problems on the pitch, that they can break down a little bit.
Yeah, you've hinted at it there, Annie. Do you think Man City have lost their mojo a bit? Do you think that teams just aren't afraid of them anymore, and that makes a huge difference in their approach to matches?
I think that's exactly it. I think teams go, we can get a goal against Man City, whereas 2-3 years ago when they were winning back-to-back leagues, it was like, how do we, we're not even going to touch the ball. So I do think they've lost that element of fear that other teams had, because they've just not been able to solve that problem defensively. And then obviously you need the likes of Raheem Sterling, Aguero on form, scoring goals. But unless they can keep it out their end, there's it doesn't matter. They will still lose games.
How much has Pep missed Arteta?
From what you hear, it could be as much. It's the buffer level between Guardiola and the players, because the players had a lot of time for Arteta. I don't think there's yet the same relationship with his replacement, with Leo. And yeah, you would think it has had some effect. And of course, I mean, we can now see what kind of an impact or influence Arteta has on teams by virtue of the work he's done at Arsenal.
What have you made of his start at Arsenal, Annie, then, Mikel Arteta?
I mean, I think it's the best start you can possibly have as a manager that quite clearly has got the respect of the players, which I think has been a problem at Arsenal with previous managers. He's already won trophies, which helps in terms of, the players realising that, I can win something under him. I think keeping Aubameyang was massive for him as well. And where he's come from, players looking at him going, he was Pep Guardiola's assistant. Straight away, there's going to be a level of respect that's going to mean that everything he wants to do, he's going to be able to implement. And the signing of Partey, I think, for Arsenal is massive. Yeah. They've needed that defensive midfielder. That would sort of shore up defensively, because I don't think Arsenal have had that pretty much since Vieira left all those years ago. I think that is a top signing for Arsenal.
Are these the games, though? We've known Arsenal over the previous years, away from home against the other top five, have been pretty pathetic.
Yeah.
Is this the time where Arteta's going to get judged in these games in the Premier League?
And added to that this is a huge opportunity, given they're probably on better form than City. We've already discussed whether home advantage is eroded in the current situation. So I think they'll do it, though, I have to say. I do agree with you. I think if Arsenal are to make the next step, it is about going and winning those games.
Yeah.
And like I say, when Spurs were in a similar situation under Mauricio Pochettino, to compare them to their great rivals, there was always that little barrier with away games. They didn't win too many away. They did get one against Man City. And I think this is a game where Arteta should be thinking about making that step with Arsenal.
Yeah.
They haven't beaten Man City since 2015, so it's been a long time coming. Annie, do you think this will be the time that they do it?
I think so. Yeah, I think going back to our conversation around, the fixtures that have, the surprises, I actually don't think it will be a surprise if Arsenal win this one, because of Man City's shaky start, because of Arsenal's strong start. I think Arsenal are favourites going into this one.